Welcome, and thank you for joining to this presentation on sustainable, clean, and minimalistic, the holistic approach of collagen peptides in beauty. My name is Florencia Moreno Torres. I'm the Business Development Manager at Rousselot Health and Nutrition. Rousselot Health and Nutrition is a company that produces peptide and collagen peptides. So this brand is actually for ingestible beauty. However, later on, we're going to see how this actually connects to cosmetics and personal care, how it can be relevant for you, and also where you can find me outside so I can give you some samples also as a thank you for waiting for this presentation. So first and foremost, why is collagen so important? Collagen is the most abundant protein in the body. It's pretty much the glue that keeps us together. As you can see from this infographic, the skin is 75% collagen. If we look at other tissues like joint, for example, that's 70%, tendons 85%, and bones, the organic part of the bones, is 90%. But of course, if we focus, because it's cosmetic business life, on the skin, 75% is collagen. And that's why it's so important for overall beauty and skin health and so on. Now, what's the sad part of the story? When we are born, our body produces its own collagen, so endogenous collagen production is all good. That's why babies are so nice and soft. But then when we become 20, every year that passes, our endogenous production of collagen starts to decline. And then around 30, you start to see a little bit of this, a little bit of that. After 40, it accelerates. That's also why our knees start to crack, because remember, that's a lot of collagen in the joints as well. So this is when supplementation becomes so important. And as I just mentioned before, collagen is the glue that keeps us together. So it's not just the skin, but also the joints. There are also benefits observed for sports nutrition. So if you go to Pilates class or aerobics and then you take collagen, it has been observed that your muscle ache is going to be less. So if you are thinking about, let's say, product innovation and you want something for, the skin, but maybe also your active lifestyle, that's the beauty of collagen peptides. It really has a very nice holistic approach that you can use. But we are going to focus on beauty from within. So at Rousselot Health and Nutrition, we actually run a lot of clinical research. We're a science-driven company, although what we sell at the end of the day is this white powder, that's peptide. But in several clinical studies, we have observed a lot of benefits in skin. For example, healthy aging benefits, including wrinkle reduction around the eyes and around the mouth. We have also observed clinically moisturization and hydration improvement, an improvement in the texture, including the suppleness, and increased hair strength and beauty. So I'm not going to walk you through this science because the presentation is more about the trends and the potential for the business. However, later, if you're interested, you can scan a QR code and then you can access to all the clinical information and the brochures we have. There's only one thing I would like to zoom into, and that is the one of hair. That's because recently, and this just 1 month ago, we released a poster in a dermatologist conference, and we have a manuscript being prepared, because it's the first time we work on fundamental science on hair follicles, and how peptide actually worked. So I want to give you a little bit of a sneak preview of what we found. So when we talk about the hair and the hair growth cycle, we have 3 phases. The first one, which is the one in blue, it's called the anagen phase. This is the growth phase. So it's when the hair is on point, is very nicely connected, it's steadily there, and the hair can stay in this phase for years, especially when your hair hasn't been in your life. Most likely it's because it's at the anagen phase. Then you have the catagen phase. So the hair follicle starts receding a little bit. It's still very well connected to the nutrients and everything, but starts to recede. That's the orange one. And then you have in gray the telogen phase. So that's the shedding phase. Finally, the hair goes out, gets thinner, and sheds. Now, what we did at Rousselot is that we took a group of people, men and female, so we saw results in both of them, and we took hair follicles, so they were these hair follicle donors. First, we took the hair follicles and we observed them through a certain amount of time to see their hair cycle, in which phase were they most often, the blue, the orange, or the shedding one. So we took note of that. And then the same people, the same hair follicles, we took them and we treat them with peptide. So we emulated that they were consuming peptide, and then we took a look at those hair follicles to see how they were reacting to peptide. And this is what we found. Control, again, no peptide. We can see that 66% of the hair follicles were mostly on the catagen phase. That means they are not shedding, but they are also not perfectly connected. They are about to start shedding, but not quite there yet. 5% was in shedding phase, and 29% was in the ideal anagen phase. When we look at peptide, we saw that 58% of the donors were actually in the anagen phase, the one we want to keep for longer. Of course, eventually everything has to shed, but in the blue one, which is the anagen phase, they were there for longer with peptide, and 42% was on catagen, and none of them had already started in the shedding phase. So these results indicate that peptide influences the growing phase of the hair follicle cell cycle, and as such, also the hair growth. I'm just explaining this in one slide, but there's a huge methodology behind. So if you are very into science, and especially science hair, next year we're going to have a webinar fully dedicated to hair and peptide. So now that we talk a little bit about the science, let's talk a little bit about what consumers are actually looking for. So when asked to global consumers which were their beauty-related concerns, this is what we found. 28% said wrinkles, 27% loss of elasticity, 25% dry patches, and 20% thinning hair. When looking at peptide and collagen peptides, we see that they are compatible with each one of these concerns, so they tick the boxes. Peptide is also a premium ingredient, and just as a little sneak peek that I show, we have observed efficacy in these issues as well. Now, I'm pretty sure you are here because you read on the directory or the agenda collagen peptides, and you thought, for some reason that might be interesting, and thank you for that once again. But the truth is that collagen peptides have been around for centuries, or collagen, so to speak. But it wasn't until pretty much the last decade that it really increased massively, also its awareness amongst consumers. And why is that, and how do we know that? What you can see in this graph is are the Google Trends. So it means the amount of time that the people went online and started to look for collagen in a space of beauty and fitness. So we can clearly see from 2012 to 2020 how it increased dramatically. And one of the things that we were researching at Rousselot a few years ago is what's driving this trend, because then you can also see how you can capitalize on that, right? And some of the things that we discover is that influencers and the connected world really were behind the boom of collagen peptides in the last years. How? For example, here we have Jennifer Aniston. She recently became the ambassador of one of the biggest collagen peptides brand in the world, Vital Protein, so they are like the Coca-Cola of collagen peptides. So now she posts on Instagram very often her doing smoothies, her drinking collagen, her doing this, her doing that. She has more than 100 million followers on Instagram. If even a small fraction of that starts paying attention or, gets the antenna like, oh, what's collagen peptides, and starts getting acquainted to that, you are already building up a market. Another example is the lady below. She's a Kardashian, not sure which one, but one that starts with K. So this Kardashian, she launched her line of collagen called Dose & Co. She sells it in Australia, and similar story. More than 200 million followers, maybe some purchased, maybe not, but still a very big amount of users seeing these celebrities taking collagen peptides. So it's really getting in the mind of consumers, and this is what we are seeing reflected in the Google Trends as well. But it's not all about influencers. There's a little bit where it started, but now we are also seeing that big companies are stepping in the collagen train. And this is why we also know it's becoming mainstream. When you see big food stepping in or big pharma stepping in, then it has come to stay. An example, Unilever acquired a line of functional gummies called Oli, which includes a collagen line as well. Nestlé last year acquired Vital Proteins, and now it's growing it everywhere. Before you could only buy it in the US. Now you can buy it here, you can buy it in Europe. I'm from Mexico, you can even buy it in my hometown that it's like in the middle of nowhere, so now it's everywhere. And Procter & Gamble also acquired this line of effervescent tablets, which has also a collagen peptide offering. Now, having put collagen peptides a little bit aside, we're going to talk about nutri-cosmetics and why are they becoming so important, even if your core business is just cosmetics or personal care for now. So according to Euromonitor, they ran this survey and they wanted to know the amount of people that were taking vitamins and supplements for beauty and skin health reasons. They found in 2020 that 29% of the people were doing so, and by 2021, 34%. So that's quite a sharp increase from one year to another. And pretty much knowing that 35% of the consumers, just to round it up, is actually stepping in supplements or vitamins for pure skin or beauty reasons. Now, when also looking a little bit at the media, at these kind of resources, in the magazine JQ, when looking at the 5 biggest grooming trends to try in 2022, we found that nutri-cosmetics was one of them. We can then also see in publications like Nutritional Outlook how collagen remains as a superstar ingredient in 2022. I've been working in collagen and Rousselot almost for 4 years, and since I arrived, when I was doing my research, collagen, the hot ingredient of 2019, the rock star of 2020, the still rock star of 2021. So it's just, it never stops, which is good. And then another example here we have from Holland and Barrett. They launched the Wellness Trend Report of 2022, and they also dedicated a spot to collagen. So once again, it's really a highlight ingredient within the whole nutri-cosmetic space. And now is when it starts to get a little bit more interesting. So how do cosmetics meet with beauty from within? According to a survey made by FMCG Gurus, they asked respondents globally, over the past 12 months, have you taken any of the following steps to address your skin health? And then they compared 2 years. So we saw use creams, lotions, use creams and lotions, 41% of the people. That's like the usual things you do for beauty, of course. 31% said that they change what skin or hair care products they use. Again, obvious. And then 19% use nutritional supplements that don't require a prescription, so nutri-cosmetics. So basically, if your business is in cosmetics or personal care, check. You are here, you are safe. It's showing a very good increase. But if you are thinking or your business is in beauty from within, this is the space that you can still capitalize on. Now, when we talk about collagen and collagen peptides and cosmetics and supplements, actually there's a very interesting evolution. Again, collagen is nothing really new. So if we think about years ago, even since I was a child even, I would think about, okay, collagen, something you find in shampoos or in creams or in serums. So it was just collagen, just like that. Then in the last decade, we started to see the beauty from within, and it was collagen peptides. So the difference is that collagen is a long molecule, and peptides have been, let's say this molecule has been chopped down, so you can eat it, and then it gets absorbed in your intestinal lining. So that's the main difference, the composition, long and chopped. But then supplements became collagen peptides, very specific. And now what we are seeing since 2 years and so, we see cosmetics and personal care, they are not just collagen anymore. They are actually collagen peptides in this segment that they never really were playing, was just collagen as a whole. But then this little bit of full circle brings a lot of opportunities for everyone. So for example, Shiseido, this very important cosmetics and personal care brand, actually launched their own line of ingestible beauty, all dedicated to collagen, whether if it was as a drinkable pouch, as a shot, or as powder, they had it. And another example, very interesting, and also from the UK, would be that one from Absolute Collagen. So they started as a supplement company with their gel on the pouch, and then they moved from beauty from within to expand their portfolio into personal care and maybe even cosmetics, who knows. But that's a very good example of how from cosmetics you can jump into beauty from within and vice versa. So it's all about offering, let's say, all the options to your customers. Now, another of the beautiful things of collagen peptides is not that they are functional. If you go for a high quality product, it's going to be of very good organoleptic properties and so on, but it also comes with a lot of cherries on top. Some of them is that they actually go very well with actual trends. One of them is sustainable. Parentheses, in case it was not known for everyone, collagen peptides are only from animal origin. So then, in a day and age where vegan is, the hot topic and so on, how can they be sustainable? Let's see, we'll get to that. First, let's talk about upcycle. So upcycle is the latest sustainability highlight. So upcycle is to take something that was already, let's say, destinated to the wasteland, take it and process it and add it value. So we are seeing this word a lot in the beauty world as well. And we see that the proportion of consumers who say that they find the concept of upcycled ingredients appealing is quite high as well. In Europe, 57%, in global, 61%. And actually, collagen peptides is the ultimate upcycled ingredient. Why? At Rousselot, we produce collagen peptides from 3 sources: bovine, porcine, and fish. So you can choose amongst those 3. So these animals first, they are used for, of course, human consumption. So everything that can be taken gets taken of the animal. And then what's left, which are animal side streams, normally they would be discarded and they would end up in wasteland and making, pollution and so on. But what we do in this case is we take these animal side streams, we process it, and we transform this otherwise waste into a functional ingredient of high quality. So then at the end of the day, it's a win-win, a win for the planet, but also a win for our customers, because you cannot say it's vegan, because it's not, of course, but it doesn't mean by then that it doesn't have a very good sustainability story around circular economy, upcycle, and so on. The next cherry on the top of collagen peptides is that it is a clean ingredient. But then, what is actually clean? Depends who you ask. Clean can be natural, can mean real, can be free from, can be no additives, preservatives, and so on. And the truth is that all these definitions are correct. And then we just took one of these one, the one that kept on repeating more, according to FMCG gurus. And we took a look at the survey they ran last year globally, which asked, what does the word natural mean to you? Environmentally friendly, 57%, free from additives, 63%, free from artificial ingredients, 63%, non-GMO, 65%, free from synthetic ingredients, 65%. So if you can use an ingredient that ticks these boxes, you are pretty much already covered what's on the other side. And surprise, surprise, in this case, collagen peptides, and specifically peptide in this case, is actually a clean label, safe and free from preservatives or additives ingredient. It's fully traceable, and as I just mentioned, it has this sustainability provenance story. So once again, you can tick a lot of boxes. On top of that, and also because of this, clean formulations are possible with collagen peptides. So there are a lot of collagen peptides in the market, I'm not going to lie, and then at the end of the day, if they are pure collagen peptides, they have similar functionalities. What makes really one different from one to the other is the quality that you buy. And in this case is when, for example, peptide stands out. So there, it has it's neutral in taste and odor, even at high concentrations. It's heat resistant, so you can pretty much do anything you want with it. It's highly stable across different kinds of pH values. It has very fast and superior solubility, either if it's hot or cold, and it's transparent in solution. So for example, outside I have some samples. Once again, inviting you to pass by to take a few. If you would put it in water, it's a white powder. At first it's going to look a little bit slightly yellow, amber, but then if you wait 10 minutes, you come back and look at the glass, it's like water. So it really dissolves very, very well, and it's completely transparent. And due to these properties, either if you are interested in making just powder or shots or gummies or pills or capsules, everything can be done because it's very, very versatile. And last but not least, we have the part of minimalistic. So this minimalistic trend is also huge in the beauty segment. There's even this word, skinimalism, where less is more, pretty much. And it was found on a survey last year in Europe that 64% of European consumers say to be influenced by products with shortened ingredient lists when purchasing food and beverage, but then we can easily extrapolate to nutraceuticals, for example. So then this leads to the following question. What would be better? A product that is collagen plus melatonin or vitamins or MSC or MCT or matcha tea, blah, 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 you name it, or a 100% collagen peptides product. So let me tell you a story that happened to me a few months ago. And I always like to go to these supplement stores whenever I'm in another country or in another city and just look around and check the prices and the competition and everything. So once I went to this shop, and I was looking at the shelf of collagen, and there was one product in particular with like 5 different functional ingredients and collagen. And then there was another one that was only collagen peptides. The one with a lot of ingredients was way more expensive than the one that was just collagen peptides. So I asked the clerk, why is it more expensive? And he said, well, obviously because it has all these other ingredients, so it has more things and so on. Okay, fair enough. A few days later, the same week in the same country, I went to another shop and I saw exactly the same, different products, but the same concept. And when I asked, but in this case, the 100% collagen peptides was way more expensive. So I asked, why is it more expensive? And they declared, well, obviously because it's pure collagen. So the thing is that it pretty much ends up in your positioning, your marketing, and yeah, how do you want to put it out there? So the key takeaway in this case is that either if you want to mix and match with other ingredients, collagen peptides is ideal. But if you are also looking for a standalone highlight ingredient, that's also a good option for you. And to finalize this presentation, I would like to highlight the following. Again, when I started working as a market analyst at Rousselot, we had as a task to determine, are collagen peptides going to be a fast trend or not? Should we keep on investing on, producing this? Is it a bubble? Is it a bubble that's going to burst? And after hiring a lot of third-party market research and doing a lot of work, it pretty much validated what we already knew, but of course you need to have a third party telling you. It's not a bubble, it's not going to burst. Why? Because it works. In different surveys and what we call the peptide trials, so different tests actually with UK consumers last year, we found that after taking peptide or collagen peptides regularly, for at least, well, some people already see it in the first weeks, but regularly for 3 months, if someone sticks to this, 70 to 90% satisfaction, and then you're locking down a consumer for life. So I would like to invite you to innovate on ingestible beauty with collagen peptides. Visit us, our stand, look at some samples, take some samples with you, and if you're interested to know more, feel free to scan on the QR code. I stole already so much of your time, but I don't know if we have time for questions or if anybody has any question.
Hi.
Hi.
You mentioned the 100% pept or collagen. How are you able to make claims? Because, for example, for food supplements, many companies position it in that way. Like the food supplement you showed on the right, it included biotin, so that you can make claims for hair and skin. Because as far as I know, the EU hasn't authorized any collagen claims.
Yes. Yeah, in this case, that's also an advantage of mixing with other ingredients, because then you can attract people with the collagen ingredient, but then you can use a claim of like biotin or vitamin C and so on. So in this case, when it's 100% just collagen peptides, you can do protein-related claims. And then from the rest, kind of rely on your own marketing online and so on to give it the edge that is for skin or is for hair or is for nails. So you sacrifice one thing for the other, so to speak.